and welcome back to Alita's Health Journey. It's been a hot minute since I've been on here, and I do want to apologize for that. I haven't posted in over a month. It's been a little bit rough on my journey lately. Hormones got out of whack, had to go to the doctor, and we're not going to get into all of that, but I'm back and it's been taken care of, and I wanted to introduce y'all to someone who's special to me. Today I'm in Atlanta, Marietta, Georgia, right above Atlanta, with my brother, Delon Reinhardt. And it's been about 4.5 years since we got to see each other. And I decided to come up here this weekend. I spent the whole weekend with him. And I had several opportunities to meet some of his recovery buddies at the Zone in Marietta, Georgia. They're a fantastic place here that has helped him and many people. If you're in this area, be sure to check them out if you need help on your recovery journey. And I know that this is not what my channel is about, but when you look at the grand scheme of things, recovery is recovery. No matter what you're recovering from, it doesn't have to be alcohol or drugs or food. Whatever your addiction is, you are on a recovery journey. And you're going to find similarities throughout with other addicts. And so I wrote down a few highlights that I want to bring up while I talk to Delon today. But we may get off track a little bit. I'm going to let him roll with it. If I say something and it triggers a memory or something he wants to speak on, then I'm going to let him go with it. This is very raw, very filtered. Yeah. So we're just going to start. I hope it helps someone. If you're one of my followers and you do have someone in your family who struggles with addiction, you could share this with them if you think it may help them. That's the only reason that I'm on YouTube. And when I asked Delon if he was interested in doing this with me, he didn't hesitate one bit. He is going to be a recovery coach, and he just wants to help people. So we're doing this just to help others. So how long have you been in recovery?
I started this journey December 17th, 2017.
And when did you realize that your drinking had become more of a problem rather than something you just enjoyed doing occasionally?
I realized I had a drinking problem probably 2003-ish. I didn't accept that I had a problem until roughly 2012. I didn't do anything about it until December of 2017. And I literally was losing my mind. And it was very dark. And I was suicidal. And I knew something had to change or I wouldn't be around much longer. So that's when I decided to seek help. But I still didn't know about recovery, really. I knew AA existed, but I didn't know really how to approach that situation.
And so 2017, the end of 2017, and we're in 2022, and how long have you been sober?
This go around, I've been sober now 5.5 months, give or take.
So, and what is the difference in now, your recovery now, and when you first started? Like, what's the difference? What do you think has made the difference that this time everyone sees it working?
Knowledge and actually I don't want to say work the program because there's so many programs in recovery that I don't want to mislead anybody and say that I'm working the AA 12-step program or the NA program or any of the programs. I am doing, I am reading literature, I am researching programs, but I'm not really following one to a T right now. But I'm just accepting of what I have to do and steps I have to take to remain sober.
So
It's the only difference between 2022 and I would say 2018 because I was in detox at the end of 2017. So beginning, I probably had 2 weeks sober going into 2018. Well, whatever, 17th through the 31st. I started 2018 off sober. And that was literally the first birthday that I had sober. My birthday's New Year's Eve. And that was probably the first no, it definitely was the first birthday that I ever celebrated sober.
wow.
And probably, whatever the math is, I started drinking at 14. So, 4 years ago. Yeah. So I started getting sober in 2018. So I was 44. 44 to 14. So yeah, 30, what's that, 30 years?
Yeah.
30 years of addiction. So yeah, but it's a learning process. If I had to say anything, that I went into recovery, my first, attempt at recovery started in I guess May of 2018. Up to that point, I just started working on mental health, taking meds, and just trying to be sober. I hit a meeting or two, but I really didn't get into recovery till I came back to Atlanta, relapsed, and found out about the zone that you spoke of here in Marietta. When I went to detox for the second time, and I would say probably May of 2018. And when I was in detox here in Cobb County, CBS or CSB, I met a fellow in there that told me about the zone. And he said, when you get out of here, go directly to the zone and talk to a friend of mine there. And I did, and they gave me a tour. And I immediately, I don't know if I went that day, I'm pretty sure that day I went to my first meeting at the zone. And
Do you remember who was head of the meeting that day?
I don't remember who facilitated the first meeting I went to, but I remember the first individual that gave me the tour. His name was Ty. And I didn't really log anything in that day per se, but I was welcomed with open arms. And long story short, it shortly after that became my new home. Yeah, we can probably touch more on that.
Yeah, I can see it becoming a second home. I've been fortunate enough to meet several people there in recovery, but also a lot of the workers, which aren't they all
In recovery.
in recovery?
Yes.
And is she called the owner or the
Yeah, but
Miss
yeah, the CEO.
CEO of the organization? And I'll be sure either before or after this video, I'm going to link their website and phone number. All of their information will be on this video in the description below. If you're in the Atlanta or Marietta area and you want to seek recovery, you can get in touch with them. But they sure have helped Delon a lot, and it is just like a second home. There's other people there who's going through the same thing that you're going through, and they have several amenities to help people.
It's a resource center.
Yeah, recovery forced you, and I'll give an example of this at the end, but has recovery forced you to realize things that may make you uncomfortable, that you've learned about yourself? For example, when I started my health journey and I dug deep looking at my relationship with food, it would leave me with feelings of disgust and being ashamed and embarrassed of my relationship with food and how I had let it control my life for many years. So do you have that same feeling? Have you learned things that you absolutely do not like about yourself through this?
Absolutely. Through my journey, I've realized just how codependent I am, fearful. I've been self-degrading a lot of my life, scared, how angry of a person I am. Just a lot of emotions. You could pretty much, and still to this day, this early into recovery, and like I said, in 5.5 months, give or take, I'm still learning things almost daily, and I don't like everything I'm learning. Honestly, some days I just don't want to do it, but I'm at a point in my life where I don't really have an option as to run from it. I have to face things almost daily that I may or may not really enjoy about myself. But and the only reason I'm doing it is to become a better person, to be a better friend, a better father. You know, if and when I find a significant other, a better partner, I'm just trying to become a better individual, and you know, in pretty much every aspect of my life, and more importantly, be the best friend I can be to myself.
Yeah.
Because I've always, and I don't know where it stemmed from. That could be a whole nother show or episode, whatever. Just to be kind to myself, you know, because I think a lot of addicts, and I can't speak on anybody but myself, have a low self-esteem. And you can be overweight, you can be underweight, you know, there's a lot of things that can tie in trauma, any kind, you know, and that could be abuse, that could be a number of things. I don't even really want to go down that avenue, but most addicts that I personally know suffer from esteem issues or some past trauma, you know.
Yeah. I'm not really sure how to word this next one, and I hope you know what I'm talking about. But we've talked a lot this weekend about how mentally you miss certain feelings that alcohol used to give you, like having fun with your friends, going out to the bars, going to concerts, whatnot, that you did, and alcohol played a big role in having fun with your friends. But you constantly have to remember that alcohol doesn't provide for you that feeling anymore if you give in these days. Like now, do you understand what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
now you drank for how many years? 30, you said?
30.
So you drank for 30 years, and at first you could have fun with it and function with it, but then it became where it wasn't fun anymore, right?
Yeah.
And so how did you, is that what you just have to keep in mind to keep going? I don't know what I'm really trying to say, but do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I remember my first drink. I wouldn't say my first drink of alcohol. A allowed me to experience what I would experience later. But I was always a timid child. Like I said, low self-esteem. Didn't really know how to talk to people. I didn't know really how to express myself. And I drank a handful of times before my first real experience of like getting like drunk. But the first time I got drunk, it allowed me to talk to the girl in the corner, be the funny guy. It just lowered all my inhibitions and allowed me to be who I guess I was the whole time, but it was like unbridled. Like I was allowed to be whoever, maybe it wasn't who I was, but it allowed me to be who I wanted to be.
Just let you open up.
It most definitely opened up, probably too much. But it was fun, and I'll never not say, I don't know, this is a tricky situation. And I'm going to say some things that'll probably get some disagreements, or somebody may cringe at something I say, and that's okay, I understand. But it was just freedom. For the first time in my life, it was freedom, and I enjoyed it. It was exhilarating. I was experiencing things that I'd never experienced. And honestly, it's like I'd found my medicine or my cure for being an escape, honestly, like escape from who I'd had to be all those years. And I could just be without thinking about who I was trying to be. I was just free to just be. I didn't have to think about it. I didn't have to impress anybody, or I wasn't timid. I just let it flow, and it was fun. With that being said, that lasted for a while, like well over a decade and a half. And then, I don't know, I don't want to just dive off into the dark side of it, but it went from being real fun to sort of fun to just straight up a necessity from day to day. And I can't tell you what moment, what year, what month even, or I don't know. It went from being fun to fun, like really fun to just fun, and then this isn't fun into just damn it, I don't want to breathe. I don't want to wake up.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen overnight like anything. You have to work at it. And I didn't know at 14 that I'd started my journey into becoming an alcoholic and a drug addict. And I'm not really going to talk much about my drug use. I will say that I've pretty much done every drug known to man that I could get my hands on at different phases of my alcoholism. But I've been an addict my whole life. And as a child, it was food and candy and, adrenaline. And then when I found alcohol, that was a whole new, addiction.
Demon.
But most definitely a demon. But I can't really pinpoint sections that, it was just fun one day and then it wasn't.
Yeah.
But it's a very slippery slope. And I'm not telling people not to, live your life, go out and experience things. Just, what was fun at 14 is just depressing now at 48,
Definitely. Do you think that your drinking was a result of trying to fill a void?
I don't know if I was feeling a void. I'm pretty sure I was. I know I never felt a part of really anything.
Yeah.
And that, like I said previously, that allowed me to be more open, be more, I guess, socially not awkward. And I know since, in my, during different stages of my life, that, and I'm trying to do this in a way that people can understand. I've always been lonely. Like, even in a room full of people, I've always, and I still do, feel alone sometimes. And I've always had a problem conveying, like, my feelings. But the void, yes. And we lost our mom. I was 24. You were, I guess, 18.
You were 23.
23. But when I lost my mother, or our mother, and I'd already started, I was doing drugs. Like, I smoked weed at 14. I had my first drink at 14. A lot of things happened at 14. But I'd started doing some cocaine the previous year, I guess at 22. And that was a whole new demon. But when I lost my mom, or our mother, I guess I've spent most of my life trying to be not an embarrassment to my mom and dad, and that's a whole nother, episode as well. But when I lost my best friend, it was freeing. Once I got over the initial shock of losing my mother, or, well, the initial shock, it's still to this day not cool, and I'm not really okay with it, but I could be the degenerate that I'd wanted to be for a long time, but I just wanted to never let her down to that degree.
Yeah.
And shortly after her death, she died in January, and somewhere around May, I met a person that turned my life around, not so much for the better at all, but introduced me to a new lifestyle that I'd previously pretty much been unaware of. I mean, I knew I was aware of it, but I'd never been associated with it. And that was the drug, I met a drug dealer, basically. I'm trying to be politically correct and say all the right things, and I think I may not be.
Just don't say their name.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't say their name. But I didn't know a lot of I was still naive to a certain degree. I knew where to get certain things, and I'd watched movies, I knew things, but it was like I was catapulted into the drug world. And it was new, it was exciting. There was a lot of girls, parties, and lots of money. And I did things I'd have never done if my mom would still have been around. But nobody was there to kind of stop me. I didn't have anybody to impress.
Yeah.
I could do what I wanted to. For the first time, I didn't need a high school or a college degree to have what I wanted. And I wasn't living lavishly at all, but I had enough money to do whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted to do it. And there was always someone to do it with. And that, touching back on what you said earlier, or asked earlier, that filled a void I probably didn't even know I had. And I stayed busy enough doing any and everything I wanted to do, and I didn't have to face my emotions. Mm-hmm. And that felt great. I don't know how to say that other than it just felt great that I literally didn't have to face any emotion. If I felt one way, I could take something that made me feel different. If I felt that way too long, I could alter that by taking something else.
Yeah.
And regardless of how I woke up and felt that day, any given day, or at any moment during the day, I could either elevate it, bring it down, you know, throw it across the room. It didn't matter how I felt. I could face it, you know,
Right.
by ingesting something and change and not have to deal with it.
Yeah.
And whether that was the death of my mother, some girl I'd met, you know, disappointing me, one of my friends sleeping with my girlfriend, or, you know, my car breaking down. It didn't matter what happened at any point of any day. I could fix it and not have to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And that felt great.
But it never got fixed.
Oh, nothing got fixed.
It
It just got put on the back burner or just totally dropped.
Right.
I don't want to jump ahead of anything because I don't really know where this is going. But I was slowly but surely deconstructing everything around me while simultaneously building walls around myself to protect myself, ultimately from my own self, and didn't even know it. But I wouldn't allow anybody to get too close. At the same time, I was drawing all the wrong people in. But all this, I was totally oblivious, consciously, to doing any of this. Subconsciously, I've said many a time, I think I was trying to kill myself because I missed my mom.
Yeah.
You know. But I don't know. Like, I could work with several therapists for several decades and probably never come up with the correct answer to anything you're asking me today. Because even now, with 4 years of attempted and different spurts, and I've had way more clean time before. I wouldn't say way more, but I've had right at a year before and relapsed. So every day is a new day, literally. It ain't always a good day, and I will never say anything definite. I'm not saying today I'll be sober next week. Today I'm sober. And if you go to meetings or if you get into recovery, you will hear people say, just for today. And that's literally how I have to live my life now. And early in recovery, it may be minute to minute. Or this, 30 seconds to 30 seconds. But, and this isn't linear. This is all over the place. There is no, and I think, just touch on this real quick. When I got into recovery and went to detox, got out, and came to South Georgia, me and you both were new to recovery. You didn't know any more about recovery than I did.
No.
And maybe we'll touch on this later, I don't know, but it's like learning how to walk, but like trying to skip over the crawling phase, and there's a lot of not information unless you know where to look or really dig. And there was a lot of hiccups in my first attempt, and there was a lot of mistakes made that I didn't know I was making in my first attempt to get sober.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm doing better now, is because every time I fell and got back up, in none of my relapses did I ever forget what I'd learned in the previous attempt to get sober.
Right.
And that's what I use today, is everything I've learned in the last 4.5 years. 4.5 years of this journey is actually putting into action the things that I've learned help on a day-to-day basis. And I totally forgot where we were even going with that last question. But
well, earlier we had one of your friends that's in recovery over, I won't say his name because
anonymity.
yeah. But great guy, and y'all were talking about a toolbox. So what I'm assuming is the tools that you use to help you in your recovery, each time that you've attempted to quit drinking, you're building up your toolbox? Like you have more to help you the next time you attempt it? Like, is that some of your tools y'all were talking about?
Yeah, our toolbox, they talk about that. There's a lot of cliches in recovery, and I absolutely despise them,
But they're cliches.
but they're cliches for a reason. And I mean, I'll find myself using 3 or 4 of them in a row, and I think it probably drives some of my friends crazy. But uh, just building a network, surrounding yourself with like-minded people, because birds of a feather do in fact flock together. And that's what probably kept me in my addiction a lot longer than it could have.
Yeah.
But I fed off of, I used to feed off of excitement and negativity and just the thrill of the moment. Now I feed off of more positivity, network, and that's friendships. I don't even want to, like, friendship, I've got like real connections, like with people now. Whereas before I had connections, but they weren't healthy. Now I've got people that I can literally call at any hour of the day. Try not to, but I can if I need to. But your toolbox, build a network, being accepting of things that you may not want to accept. Gratitude is huge with me. I don't know how many nights I laid in bed praying to die to a God that I didn't even believe in, and having to wake up the next day and do it again. And this is well after I got into recovery. But a connection to a higher power, and I battle with that. Jeez, you may have to edit that. But I've never believed in God as society looks at God, but you do have to have a higher power. And by that, I mean, like, for right now, my higher power is, right now it's the universe. And I think my God is the universe, and I think the universe is my God. And I think God is a little bit of everything, and everything is God. But that's me. I don't know. Everybody's got their own personal beliefs. And I believe anything, in fact, can be your higher power. But a lot of people in mine started out the people in the room. Because you have to turn your life over, or you don't have to do anything. I highly suggest you find a higher power. And my first real higher power that I accept, was the rooms. And, more importantly, the people in the rooms. Because if I've got a problem, I can look to that group of 3 people or a room full of like 40. And with those people's help, I can come up with a solution usually of how to approach a situation. Or, and that was my higher power, the power of the room, the power of the people that I surrounded myself with. And that was my higher power at that point. Now I've progressed, or whatever you want to call it, into believing more in the universe and divine time, and I may be very well explaining your God. I don't know who your God is, but my God's a person of understanding and peace and love and acceptance, and that's my higher power today, is the universe and everything that encompasses that, whether it be the birds chirping or a smile on a child's face.
Yeah. A lot different than what we were raised in.
Most definitely different than we were raised.
This one could get emotional, and if you don't want to talk about it, we don't have to. How did drinking affect your relationships?
It depends on which relationships you're talking about.
Any that you want to talk about.
It made a lot of friendships and relationships. I met people doing things that I've done that I would have never met. Everybody from, mountain people that made moonshine to internationally known DJs and entertainers. And I'm not going to name lists, but you know, a lot of people in different, you know, different avenues of all sorts of. Like I've literally hung out with prostitutes and crackheads, and I've hung out with people with millions of dollars. It afforded me a lifestyle that I can't explain, but most of it was fake. Most of it wasn't really of any substance. Uh, I've met some really good people that I'm still. I've had a hell of a group of people. Uh, I've dated them. They've been, you know, guy friends, girlfriends that I still have to this day that stuck with me through addiction. And God bless those people, because I know for a fact I was sometimes not even someone they wanted to know, much less hang out with. But I think it's most of these people that have stuck with me seen and knew who I was. More than what I allowed most people to see. They dug a little deeper and looked for who I really was. And I'm grateful for those people. But it ultimately tore everything good in my life apart. I can't even say it did. I allowed it to. The drink or the drug only has the power you give it. Just as you would a word. A word only has the power that you put with it and how it's perceived. But even in my most depraved moments, I had people look beyond that and see where I was really coming from. And most times, like I stated before, my actions were usually the result of an emotion that I had. And I had people that seen past that and took this for, you know, oh, he's hurt, he's not, you know. And thank God for those people. And some people just wiped their hands with me and walked away, which is what they had to do. And some of those people have came back. You've gave me another chance, you know. And if I just keep doing what I'm doing now and get better, I think maybe I don't know who will come back, and maybe they don't need to. I don't know. But I know the friendships and relationships I'm building now have substance. They're real. They're not fake. Some of them may be fake, but I don't really spend a lot of time trying to figure anything out now as to what it is. I just try to accept what I see for what it is, whether it's good or bad. But for the relationships I have and I'm building now or rebuilding, I'm grateful for people that have gave me multiple chances. But ultimately, what you asked was, it tore every relationship that meant anything to me apart. Because if somebody truly loves you, the last thing they want to see you do is ruin your life. And you affect more people than you actually know you're affecting. I've affected people in negative ways that I didn't think even thought about me from day to day. And I've also, in this journey on the high note, because I don't want this just to be fucking depressing, I've had people contact me from my past that I've not talked to in 20 years, but through the internets and social media, I've had people that I've not literally talked to in over 20 years contact me and tell me they see a difference, or they've noticed things, or they love the positivity, or somehow, you know, they've seen change, and I'm not who they knew 20 years ago, or 12 years ago, or even 8 months ago. You know, I've met people in recovery that have taken notice of I'm not the same person I was a year ago. You know, same sober Delon, just not the same sober Delon.
Yeah.
I've actually tried to use the tools in my toolbox because like, and I'll go ahead and say this: putting drugs and alcohol down are fine. That's a great start. But if you don't change the reasons that you started escaping, then you're not probably going to stay sober or clean or whatever you want to call it. You have to change every aspect of your life, or at least the way you process information and deal with things. Because I myself have a lot, the drinking and drug use was more of a band-aid for a bigger problem.
Yeah.
And now that I'm working on fixing self-doubt, you know, I don't really know. Like, you could have picked a much more educated person to do this with, but I'm digging deeper to fix the root of the problem, and that was self-esteem, depression, anxiety, just mental health in general. And I was off my rocker way before I was ever introduced to drugs and alcohol. And that's why it felt so good when I found it. It was a release, a relief
Know that.
from that. I've suffered from depression, anxiety my whole life, as far back as I can remember. And it wasn't always bad, but I remember as a child going to Six Flags and throwing up before we went because I'd get so excited and worked up about it.
Wow.
And it could be something good or it could be bad, but anxiety, I was just anxiety ridden as a child. And I had anxiety, I think, before I had depression. I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg, as far as depression.
Going back as far as you can remember, you're saying? Like,
yeah,
as a child?
Like, even in elementary school.
So that brings another question that I'm just going to put my notebook aside for a minute. So do you think that it is... I've always thought that depression and anxiety, not so much anxiety, but depression, because I suffer with it too, I felt like came from past trauma, from, you know, things that happened when we were kids that we're not going to go into, to losing mom and daddy, my husband, traumatic things that happened I felt like caused my depression. But hearing you say that it went back further, like to when you can first remember, you think some people are just born with this seed of depression, I guess?
I don't know how to address that in the best way. I can only speak for, we in the recovery community like to talk in I statements, because I don't know what anybody's dealt with or what they may feel about any certain subject. I just try to look at it from my personal lived experiences. But I know for a fact I had anxiety as far back as like kindergarten.
Wow.
You know, and I didn't fit in kindergarten. And if you looked at my pictures, I fit in perfectly. But inside, I didn't feel like I fit in anywhere. And that would fluctuate, you know. In first grade, maybe I felt on top of the world. Me and my friend Jeff loved Star Wars. We connected on Star Wars, but me and my friend Marvin had music in common. Like, I would find things in people that I could connect with, but I never felt part of anything. And that very well may be genetic. I don't know. But I just know I never felt like I fit in anywhere. I just had segments of stuff or bits and pieces that fit in over here, bits and pieces that fit over there. But I never felt like I was part of a whole, like a group. I often refer to my group of friends in high school as the Island of Misfit Toys, because even my group of friends in high school, none of us like wore the same clothing. None of us listened to the same type of music. I had friends that played football. I played football. Uh, like I had friends on the football team that didn't hang out with my people that I hung out with in art class. None of my friends, and I still say this day, if you took all my friends and put them in the same room, they would end up fighting, and I would literally be the only common denominator in the room. And they would, and I guess I've kind of found my tribe, and it's still to this day none of us match. One thing that does match today is we're all fucking nutty as hell, and we've all suffered from mental health for the most part, and we've all had addiction issues. And like I said, that's all different colors, races, creeds, financial stability, and people that live in, are right now intense. My network is, I don't know how it could be any more across the board as far as my friends. But yeah, growing up, mental health was an issue, and I didn't know it because when I grew up, that wasn't a thing. Timmy just needs his ass whooped. He won't settle down. Or
it still has such a big stigma.
oh, that's the problem with all this is stigma.
Nobody wants to talk about it. Well, when we were kids, nobody talked about it, period. And now, it's some people are bringing to light mental health, but it's still just, people die every day because they think they're alone and the only ones suffering. But I can see it at the zone when I'm there. Like, I see everyone communicate. It's like a reunion almost. People, y'all are just a bunch of friends getting together, cutting up, and messing with each other. And then you go into the meeting and it gets serious. And y'all eat together, but then you still know outside those doors, there's a whole world waiting to judge you, waiting for you to mess up, and it can get overwhelming.
Yeah.
But
Well, it's not even outside the doors, and there's people in the rooms that we judge each other. We judge as humans. That's what we do. And it's not to say, Joe Blow over there is a bad person for judging me for whatever he may be judging me for. It's human nature to judge, especially if you're judging from a point of, like, I don't know. Like, if you're ignorant to anything, it's easier to judge than if you have, like, a pile of facts. And I've been guilty of it myself, and I still do it, and I'll probably do it tomorrow, unfairly judge an individual.
yeah.
But unless I get to know that person, I have no business judging them. And I don't have a business judging anybody at any point. But it's easier once you get to know somebody to not judge them. Similarities, and we talk about that in the rooms. Instead of looking at our differences, let's look at the similarities.
And we've done that.
Yeah.
With our journeys.
And people in everyday life, your neighbor, your mechanic, your bartender that may or may not even drink alcohol. I've got several friends that are bartenders that used to drink with me, and now they're in recovery, and it's just, we really don't talk enough, and social media has not helped that at all. And I'm not bashing social media, but the more we dive into the internet and the World Wide Web and whatnot, like dating apps, like, you really were separating each other.
Yeah.
And we don't even talk, we text. And I'm okay with texting. I'm not here to, like, say anything bad. I just think at the end of the day it comes down to intentions. Obviously, if you can answer a question with a yes or a no, there's no need for a phone call. But I think we as a society, or in the world, period, we're just disconnected.
Yeah.
We're so connected, now we're disconnected. And it's really, it's
Sad.
tearing a lot of things apart. We're building and simultaneously just deconstructing everything. And but it is, I think, really important to connect with your neighbor. Check on your neighbor. You know, if you see them cutting the grass, talk to them. You know, or just connect. If you're at the grocery store and you can help somebody, help them. You know, I have conversations now several times a week with total strangers that I just come into contact with, and because I'm open and I love to talk, I have some of the most interesting conversations I've ever had in my life. And we may end up not talking about anything, you know, that really matters. Or we may have one of the best conversations I've ever had.
Yeah.
But it's because we talk, we're open. And I've had conversations start off about baseball, per se, or music. And then we end up finding out we both lost somebody very pivotal in our life. And we have that in common. And then we end up talking about mental health. You know, and it started off because we was talking about the Yankees versus whoever,
Yeah.
or something. You know, and I just try to listen, or like actually hear. I've always listened, but I try to hear what people say now. Because if you really hear what somebody's saying, it can lead to a lot of different conversations that you may not have if you're just like, yep, have a great day. You know, like I no longer accept I'm okay as a response if I ask you how you're doing. I'll accept it, but I'll ask you again, like, are you really okay? Yeah, okay, well, you can have that. I'll let you do it. Because maybe you don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're actually just
Yeah.
okay. I don't know. But if I feel a certain way about an answer or a reply, then I may dig a little deeper. I've lost people to suicide that if I'd actually paid attention to what they were truly saying, they might still be here. And that's a whole nother discussion. But if you really care, and sometimes, you know, I'm guilty too. I'll ask you how you feel, and I really don't want to hear your reply. I don't care. I'm asking because socially I'm supposed to ask,
Right.
how you doing?
Yeah.
And maybe I've got a lot of going on, and I don't have time to spend with you about how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm more apt not to ask you how you feel if I don't have the time to take with you. Because if you need to talk about how you feel, I've opened up the door for you to tell me how you feel. And if you want to tell me, I need the time to talk to you. So now, really, if I don't have the time to invest in your response, I just don't ask.
Yeah.
Because I think we do a lot of that. People are, in my opinion, too busy for our own good. We've got so much going on that we sweep a lot of shit under the rugs that I don't think really need to be swept under the rug. And that's with addiction, mental health, and just everything. And that's what I love what you're doing with your journey as far as weight loss and health is, you know, people feel some sort of way about literally everything nowadays. So and I can't fix anybody. I can't even, I work every day to try to make myself better than I was yesterday, and I'm getting off track.
You're fine.
But I think we need to connect more than we are. But at the same time, don't open up doors if you're not willing to take the time to talk to somebody about it. Just go about your day.
Yeah.
Because if you ask them how they feel or how they're doing and you don't have time to talk to them about it, you may actually do more harm.
Right.
Because you've just reinforced the idea of nobody cares.
Right. You just disregarded them.
You've disregarded everything and you just help. And I don't know what that person's going through, but I know me. If you ask me how I feel and I try to talk to you and you don't have time, you're just going to reinforce the fact, or the idea that I already preconceived that you
Right.
don't care.
Yeah.
Now you just prove to me in my head, my thought process,
That
which
you
is
were right.
all over the place, that I'm right.
Yeah.
You don't care.
Mm-hmm.
And that's dangerous. So honestly, nowadays, if I don't have time for it, I don't even ask. I just
Yeah.
continue with my day. And then I'll get back to you when I have time.
That's why, you know, with your depression and anxiety and us being like night and day, because I've always described it for people in South Georgia that doesn't know you, hasn't ever met you, and they ask about you, they're like, well, how is your brother like you? No, we're like night and day. But we do have a lot of similarities. Other than DNA, we, you know, we, in our journey, we've found, I feel like, a lot of things that we have in common. But I would always, even when me and you weren't speaking, if someone asked about you, and even if I was upset at you, you know, it's always okay to talk about your own blood, but you don't want anyone else talking about them. And the minute that a conversation would come up about you or how you were doing or whatever, I've always said you had the reason to be like you were. Like, because of not being, you know, just because I was mad at you, I still was able to realize the childhood that we had and the way I'm not even going to cover up the name, the way the Reinhardts made you feel as a child. I was able to, you know, kind of put myself in that position, and I mean, it was messed up. And I feel like that's where it all started. You feeling like you didn't belong was with the very people that you belonged to.
Yeah.
That's where you were first shunned, was by the very people who should have never shunned you.
Yeah.
Actual family. And I don't care. There ain't many of them that probably even, but I don't care if they do see this. It's on their hands to me, you know, what's happened. But the point is, you're 48 years old, you're cleaning up a mess, and you're doing a damn good job of it. And I'm proud of you. And I plan on, I've already told Delon and I told a couple people at the zone, but I plan on coming back in April to give him his 1 year chip, whatever.
Chip.
Dog tag.
Dog tag for all recovery.
He'll get
NA will be a new keychain.
And he'll get a couple before then. He'll
Probably
get,
a cake.
What, 6 months you get one, 9 months you get one, and then a year.
In a year.
So, you know, the 6 and 9 months, not that they're not special, but I'm gonna let him have those.
I've had both of those.
But I definitely told him I would be back to present it to him. So, and we may do another video then.
Yeah.
So,
I would love to.
We've got to go, but is there anything else that I haven't covered that you would like to?
There's so much that we've not covered, but we're not going to cover it all in a day. And there's something that I'll think about 3 minutes from now that we didn't talk about that I wish we had. And there'll be something next week that I'm like, you know, we should have talked about this. I'll lay awake tonight thinking about what we could have talked about and didn't.
Well, you can comment on the video.
We've got the ball rolling.
Yeah.
And, you know, we can do this every 3 months or every 6 months, or we may do another one over Zoom or something next week. I don't know what we'll do. But there's more to life than getting sober or losing weight or whatever it is you're struggling with. There's a solution, and you just have to be vocal about what you're going through. And that's across the board. That I think that if I could say one thing, well, I'm going to say 2 or 3 things, but if I could say one thing, is be vocal. Talk to people. Regardless if that's a therapist, your family, or a friend, or a total stranger. Be vocal. uh, I say this more than not, try to be kind. You know, even if you're having the shittiest day possible, try to find it in your heart to be kind to another person. That person may actually be the very person you need to get you through whatever it is you're going through. You never know who you're talking to. And just be open. Open-mindedness is a great part, or a very, very good part of my program and recovery, or whatever you want to call it. It's just being open-minded about any and every situation. And I may feel tomorrow differently about something today. But I give myself time to process things. I think about it. I read. I educate myself. You know, YouTube is I'm not just saying a YouTube plug, but Google it, YouTube it. Whatever it is you're going through, look into it. Because until we educate ourselves on anything that we're dealing with, we're not going to come up with a solution. And you may not get it today, but if you don't look for a solution, you're not going to find it.
No.
And it's not easy, but, you know, you wouldn't have thought, you know, a year ago you'd be at your weight that you're at now.
Right.
You've done it through hard work, dedication, you know, struggling.
Yeah.
Like, every day is a struggle, and you don't have to be overweight. You don't have to be a junkie or a drunk. You don't have to be a mental case. Normal people, whatever that may be, struggle with something. Every living soul that you know is battling something. Whether it be insignificant to you or something you also deal with. Literally everybody you come into contact with, whether you know them or not, has some demon lurking over them that feels like the world is like consuming them.
Yeah.
So I say this more than not, be kind, but be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
This is a learning process. Life is a learning process. There's no manual. You know, you can research it all you want. You're not going to come up with an absolute to anything.
Yeah.
But through willpower, determination, and sacrifice, just about anything can be overcame. You know. So just be easy on yourself. And just know there are people that care.
Yeah.
You just have to look for them. And I really don't know anything else to say on that, but just...
Well, on a lighter note, hold up the cup. I brought Delon the Balance Breaker for Life.
Shout out
cup.
to Derek.
Yeah.
Derek, his wife, and his wonderful child. That's a whole nother video, but through Alita's journey, I've met I've not met them, but we're friends on social media.
It makes you feel like you've met him.
Yeah, weight loss challenges, step challenges. Because like I said earlier, you know, it's not about me just putting down my alcohol. I've got to better myself. And through the diet plan that I'm on now, thanks to my trainer and nutritionist, Brad Carter, Cellular Health, my diet alone has helped my mental health, you know. So step A helps step B, and then, you know, step A, I can't go to step 4 without taking the initial step. But every time I turn around and I've done one thing, it actually down the road I look and it's helped something else that catapulted me into another realm of whatever. But I first realized I had a problem. I took a step to fix it. I'm in the midst of fixing it. And then I changed my diet. I started working out.
And you've lost what, 30?
I've lost roughly 30 pounds. It may fluctuate. Today may be 28. Tomorrow could be 32.
After this weekend.
But yeah, we definitely did not follow a diet this
No.
weekend. But no, it's just make one step in the right direction. And it's okay to take a step or two back. Just don't run back to the problem. Try to make moves in a positive manner. And they can be baby steps, or hell, you can crawl. You don't have to run to a solution. And a setback's not the end, you know?
No.
Regardless of what you're doing, it's not indefinite. Like, all you're trying to do is better yourself. And there's so many ways to do that. And like I said, my thing right now is health and just not drinking.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, what do I have to do throughout the day not to end up drunk by 9 o'clock? Or used to be let's not be drunk by 12.
Yeah.
You know, now it's let's make it through the day. And I don't even worry about tomorrow. I heard a fellow say one time, tomorrow will have its own set of problems. Mm-hmm. All I've got to do is make it through the day. And Alita, I want to thank you for even one asking me to do this. I'm sorry, it's been, for lack of a better word, a shit show on my side.
No.
But if it helps one person, and you know, we'll do another one.
And we didn't even do the taste test.
Yeah.
This was kind of for Misty, another lady that I follow on YouTube, but she's all the time doing taste tests with Baines, and I've never heard of champagne Baines.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, he likes it. We found those at Dollar Tree yesterday, and he got him some.
I bought 8.
And the cup, like I said,
Yeah.
I won that. Derek sent that to me. I think I received it the end of last week. But I won it on his channel, Derek's Journey, great channel. And I just felt like I wanted to give it to Delon. He's been doing Derek's challenges, the weight loss challenge and the steps challenge.
Came in second in the weight challenge. Derek's the only one that beat me, and I'm coming for him this month. I may not get it, but
you'll be up there.
But that's just to go to show. I didn't know who Derek. I never knew Derek existed.
Yeah. And
through Alita's journey, she met Derek and a lot of other incredible individuals. And then next thing I know, I'm doing challenges that some guy I've never talked to or even met. And that's what I meant a while ago, was like, you don't know who you're talking to in public. You know, and
Derek's been through it. You know, he's had his journey. You never know what people's going through.
But like other people's journeys has affected Alita's journey, but she wouldn't have found their journey if it hadn't been for her journey. I was on my journey. Our journeys connected. She turned me on to her people's journeys. And maybe, you know, it's just, it's a small world as big as we are. As big as the world is. We're all connected. And if you just, like I said, talk.
Yeah.
But I want to thank each and every one of y'all for, if you take the time to watch this, God bless your soul.
And leave a comment down below if you think he should start his own YouTube channel, because I think he should. Now, I really do think he should, to help other people that are in recovery or wants to be in recovery. I've been feeling like it for a long time. I really feel like he should do it. So leave a comment down below if he should.
And I'm okay with negative comments, so let them flow. I'm going to shut up, but yeah, just be kind.
Did you have this out to talk about or no?
No, it says happy, and it's a great book.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, educate yourself, be kind and open, and just step outside your box. Whatever your box is, get outside of it and stretch. You know, not necessarily just physically stretch, but that's good too. But get outside your comfort zone. Get to know people. Talk about things that make you uncomfortable. You'll find your tribe.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
You may not find them all today, but just connect. and take the time to think about maybe what you're going to say before you say it, and I do that daily,
Yep.
you know. But get uncomfortable, talk, be kind, and get outside the box. And I'm going to shut up. But thank you, Alita. You're doing incredible on your journey. And you've really helped me in my journey by watching you in yours.
It's been a journey.
Like I said, thank you, Derek. Thank you, Valerie. Thank you, Brad Carter. Thank you, Missy Owen, Michael at the Zone. Literally, if you've had any kind of influence on me, thank you. And if you've not, maybe you will. Maybe we'll get to meet. I don't know, but you know, have a blessed day. And I'm gonna hush on that note.
Thank you all for watching. I hope you're having a great weekend. I hope you have a wonderful week. Until next time, be happy and stay safe. Love y'all.